I intended to come in here today and talk about the Dolphins and make fun of Billy Gill, who has fled the premises after buying a Tua jersey and his whole season has fallen apart. Make fun of Chris Cody because since he said the Dolphins fall out of bed and score 30 points, they haven't been able to score 30 points.
I was going to make fun of J.J. Watt.
I was going to make fun of you too because as soon as we said, finally, for the first time in 20 years, December AFC East games that matter, the Jets and Dolphins played 10 of them and lost all 10 of them. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I wanted to tie to Tua is something that I've never seen happen before in my history covering sports, which is people keep coming up to me around South Florida, conversationally, people I do not know, asking me, do you think Tua should quit? We are back to that conversation, and a quarterback that I don't think I'm overreacting when I say I've never seen this scenario in my life when it comes to being able to analyze what a quarterback is statistically. He has all these number one in the league numbers when he's healthy. And then what happened in the end of the Packers game, where he's throwing 3 very easy to catch interceptions to defensive players for the Packers, plays that don't make any sense, and you're wondering, as he goes into the concussion protocol afterward, is his head scrambled? So we don't know how to make the assessment on this one guy I will call, I think I have this right? He's the most polarizing quarterback in the league. I don't even know who is in second place. And for some reason, we don't care that Bill center Mitch Morse is coming back from the concussion protocol, his 6th concussion, 6th reported concussion. That's not something we care about. But with Tua, now you've got, to me, something fascinating, Stugotz. It's RG3, of all people, who had his career detonated by the way he was coached by Kyle Shanahan, who led to a revolution of young system coaches who now can make quarterbacks something without you knowing whether they're good or not, or how good they are. How good is Garoppolo? You can't totally tell, and now you're looking at Tua Tagovailoa, and people are wondering, legitimately, should he keep playing? What do you do with that question? Because I don't know how to answer it when I'm telling you that I'm getting it all the time. Who's the second most polarizing quarterback in the league, Stugotz?
Kirk Cousins.
But for me, the thing with Tua is, like, I just think it's different when you compare it to RG3, for instance. RG3 was a physical injury. I know that a brain injury is a physical injury, but his knee was never right again. And so he couldn't perform to the same level. Whereas we saw in fairly clear terms when in that game against the Packers, there was the pre-concussion and there was the post-concussion. And those are 2 very different people. And so if he's healthy, he's great, or he has been great this season. But when he is concussed, or when he can't play because he is concussed, then obviously it completely affects everything. And like you said, Jay Glazer reported that he couldn't even remember the mistakes. And that's a completely different dynamic as far as injury is concerned. And it's also interesting, like we have Ricky Williams on the show, and Ricky Williams just sort of flatly said, I'm not sure football is for him. And he doesn't say it in a callous way, in a man's man, this is a bravado sport and you have to be tougher than everyone and he's not tough enough. It's just basically just might not be for him. And it's wild, like, as you say, how pervasive that is as a part of the conversation as it relates to Tua, because it has nothing to do with his physical abilities to play the sport. It has everything with his brain just can't handle it. And that's a completely different dynamic to anything that I've seen, at least.
I have some people who know about these things saying he hasn't been taught how to fall, that they teach you in mixed martial arts. It's one of the things that you learn earliest, how to fall. I don't think the analysis around Tua has been very sound. Why are you making a face? I mean,
I thought we were talking about Donovan Mitchell. Sorry. No, I just think about the way Tua fell on that concussion. I don't know how you could mix martial arts tuck and roll on that one. I mean, it just
There's
was
a correct way to fall. That
no, but
seems...
in general, sure. Right. That play, ain't no way.
Right.
Ain't no way, man. I don't care if it was Bruce Lee. If he got caught like that, you're falling, you're hitting your head like that.
I like the idea of a quarterback, though, that's just got that ability that anytime he's sacked, he like spins up and all of a sudden he's pointing at the defender.
Well, Brady's the one, right?
Russell Wilson has had the ability of moving around the whole lot without hitting himself that way.
It finally caught up to him, and I think we're all kind of learning as the NFL moved back towards, okay, maybe height doesn't really matter and size at that position doesn't really matter, and we're starting to see smaller quarterbacks maybe have shorter shelf lives. We're wondering what's happening with Russell Wilson. Everyone's saying what a huge part of his game is being able to roll out, and now he can't do so with the same type of athleticism because of all the hits he's sustained. Tua, RG3, Tua's not as small, but these are still not your prototypical NFL quarterbacks. And those two in particular had this weird gene of getting ragdolled in ways that kind of stick out.
Brady's the one that says it's not, rolling out or whatever. It's like he goes limp when you hit him, right? Even defensive players say, like, when you hit him, it feels like a noodle.
Trevor Price says that when you hit Ben Roethlisberger, it felt like you were running through glass, and when you hit Tom Brady, it feels like water's moving.
Yeah, Big Ben, he's obviously huge. It was impossible to get a clean hit on him. Russell Wilson in his prime, a smaller guy, it was really difficult to put a clean hit on him for whatever reason. Tua and RG3 are the two that really stick out. Lamar Jackson had this concern when he was entering the NFL. How could someone with such a slender frame be able to hold up in the NFL? And one thing that we didn't really picture or imagine was that Lamar Jackson would physically grow into the role to the point that he's the one actually dishing out the punishment. His frame and his neck is enormous. He is a really big guy, and I think part of this is all data as the NFL shifted away from the prototype, the big guys. Levis is this quarterback from Kentucky, and everyone's like, why is he rated over Bryce Young? Look how great Bryce Young is. And when you see the frame and having to make sure that you have a quarterback that is available long enough for you to evaluate him, I think we may see some people start shying away from smaller quarterbacks because of this.
But I think it's weird that like all the names that you just named are either elusive quarterbacks or physical quarterbacks. And going back to what Dan was saying about knowing how to fall, again, I don't think there's any way that Tua could have fell better on that one.
Yeah, there is. He could have been bigger. I'm just saying it's harder for a 6'5" quarterback to fall the way that.
No, but I mean, saying when you get caught like that, you get caught like that.
Got caught like that.
There's no right way to fall. You can't control it.
Size absolutely plays.
If I may, though, on what we're doing with the revisionist history on this, I will remind you that we all learned first of Tua's possible concussion on that play when someone named Michael Williams on Twitter just put the hit out there on the video and said after this hit, he was not the same quarterback. He threw 3 interceptions that were very obviously just thrown right to Packers. We didn't put him in the concussion protocol. The Dolphins didn't put him in the concussion protocol. Amin is saying that hit is something that nobody could have fallen better, but none of us knew he had a concussion until this person put it on Twitter.
He hasn't been playing that very long. Even the example that I cited, Big Ben, it was impossible to get a clean hit on him. I saw him have to be ambulanced off of a field while he was still wearing his helmet because at a certain point in time, the hits and the violent sport caught up with him. What's really scary is with Tua, much like RG3, is all this is happening in a very short amount of time. And this is a season where they were trying to evaluate this quarterback. And part of your evaluation is he gets concussed. He gets thrown to the ground hard. He seems to be taking harder hits than everybody else. I can't quantify that, but my eyes are not lying to me when I turn on a Dolphin game and I see Teddy Bridgewater or Skylar Thompson starting at that position and not him.